Imagine a young boy from Zungeru in northern Nigeria, born to an Igbo father and a mother of Gwari heritage, who would grow to become the voice that awakened an entire continent. A man who was not just Nigeria's first president, but a global thinker, a sportsman, a publisher, a polyglot, and above all, a dreamer who turned his dreams into movements. That man was Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, fondly called Zik of Africa. Hi and welcome to Echoes of the Past with Amaka Niji. Nnamdi Azikiwe was born on November 16, 1904 in Zungeru, a small railway town in today's United States. Few know that he almost didn't survive childhood. Malaria and dysentery plagued him, but his mother called him Nnamdi, meaning "my father is alive," a prophetic name that carried the weight of survival and continuity. As the son of Obed Edom Chukwuemeka Azikiwe, a clerk with the colonial government, little Nnamdi moved frequently across Nigeria. This exposed him to Hausa, Yoruba and Igbo cultures, planting the seed of his famous belief in one Nigeria. He attended school in Onitsha and later at Hope Waddell Training Institute in Calabar, where he first encountered the power of education mixed with activism. Azikiwe worked as a dishwasher, coal miner, and even a road digger in the United States to pay his tuition. When he arrived in 1925, America was not welcoming to Africans, but instead of breaking him, racism fueled his determination. He studied at Storer College, Howard University, Lincoln University, and later the University of Pennsylvania. By 1934, he had earned 2 master's degrees, one in political science, another in anthropology. He was later conferred an honorary doctorate, making him one of the most educated Africans of his generation. He once said, "My stiffest earthly assignment is to change an ignorant, degraded, and wretched society for the better." In America, he wrote passionately for newspapers, defending Africa against colonial propaganda. His book, Renaissance Africa, 1937, would later inspire nationalist movements across the continent. He briefly tried to enlist in the US Army Air Corps during World War II, but was rejected because of his nationality. When Zik returned to Africa in 1934, he first went to the Gold Coast, Ghana, where he worked with the African Morning Post and mentored young Kwame Nkrumah. It was in Ghana that he popularized the slogan, "Africa for Africans, Africans for humanity, and humanity for God." By 1937, he returned to Nigeria and founded the West African Pilot. This was not just a newspaper. It was a weapon of liberation. Its motto was, "Show the light and the people will find the way." Through fiery editorials, Zik challenged colonial injustices, exposed corruption, and inspired ordinary Nigerians to demand independence. So powerful was his journalism that colonial authorities once plotted to silence him permanently. But Zik had the protection of the masses. In Lagos, market women were known to sell food on credit to their Zik. Zik's charisma led him into politics. He founded the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, NCNC, a party that united multiple ethnic groups, a rare feat in a divided colony. He became the first premier of Eastern Nigeria in 1954, the first Senate president in 1960, and eventually Nigeria's first president in 1963 after independence was secured. But his greatness wasn't in the titles he held. It was in how he carried himself. He spoke fluent Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, English, and even Latin. He promoted sports, establishing the Zik's Athletic Club, believing a healthy youth was vital for nation building. He envisioned Nigeria as the giant of Africa long before it became fashionable. Zik was a sprinter and once competed in intercollegiate athletics in the US, narrowly missing a sport in the Olympics. He was one of the first Nigerians to own a car, but often chose to walk through markets to hear directly from the people. His speeches were studied not just in Nigeria, but across Africa. Young leaders like Julius Nyerere and Kenneth Kaunda regarded him as a mentor. During the Biafra crisis, 1967 to 1970, though an Igbo man, Zik risks being seen as a traitor by some when he called for a peaceful resolution instead of continued war. This decision cost him political capital but earned him historical respect. After Nigeria's return to civilian rule in 1979, Zik was again a presidential candidate, though he never regained the political dominance of his youth. He retired quietly to Nsukka, where he spent his final years writing, reflecting and counseling younger politicians. On May 11, 1996, Nnamdi Azikiwe passed away at the age of 91. His funeral was so grand it was called a state of funeral for Africa. Over 50 world leaders attended, honoring a man who had become a symbol of African unity. Today, his face is on Nigeria's currency, his name immortalized in the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, and countless schools bear his legacy. But beyond these symbols, his true legacy lies in the vision he gave Africa, that a free, united, and enlightened continent was possible. Nnamdi Azikiwe was not just a perfect man, but he was a man of vision, a dreamer, a fighter, a builder. From the dusty streets of Zungeru to the halls of power in Lagos, he carried with him one unshakable belief. From the dusty streets of Zungeru to the halls of power in Lagos, he carried with him one unshakable belief. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams and who have the courage to fight for them. And that is the story of Zik of Africa, the man who showed the light so his people could find the way. And thank you for joining us today on Echoes of the Past. See you again, same time, same station, next week on Nmegide TV. My name is Amaka Niji. Don't forget to drop your comments and follow us across all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and right here on YouTube, all at Nmegide TV. Bye for now.